Here's program 1 for Unit 3. You'll notice that I've copied the cleaned up function that we developed in the learning part of the unit. Now what we'd like to do is use it as we go one by one through all of the words in Pride and Prejudice to find the longest one. Our basic approach is the same one we've taken other times. We create a connection to the file. We go one by one through the lines in the file, and in each line we go one by one through the words. Temporarily, let's not use cleaned up. We'll just use split to take a rough cut at breaking the line into words. Now, as we have each word, what would we like to do? We'll check its length, and compare the length to the longest length we've seen so far. If the length of the current word is bigger than the largest length we've seen so far, we have some work to do. This name, max length, will be adjusted always so that it's the length of the longest word seen so far. We'd better start it out at a reasonable value. I'll start it at 0 so that the very first word we see will be longer than this length. If the length of the current word is longer than the longest we've seen so far, we'd like to remember this as the new longest length. Also, we'd like to remember the word that has this length. When we finish going through all the words, we'll know the longest. Here it is. Let's run the program as it stands. Note that we find something very long, but it's not a word. Because split breaks on spaces, no break is found here, and we're treating this long string of letters and dashes as if it was a single word. But because we've already written the cleaned up function, this is easy to fix. Instead of splitting the line, we'll split what comes back from the cleaned up function when we pass in a line. That's a line with all lowercase letters and, more important for our purposes, only alphabet characters. When we split this, we get something much closer to an actual list of words. So when we run this program again, we find the actual longest word used in the text. Here's the way that the program works again. We set the maximum length temporarily to 0 because we haven't yet seen any words. Then, using these 3 lines, we go word by word through the entire book. With each book, we calculate the length of the current word we're looking at and give that length a name, length. We compare the length of the current word to the largest length we've seen so far. There's nothing to do if it's smaller or the same, but if it's bigger, we remember the largest length we've seen so far, using the name max length, and the longest word we've seen so far, that would be the current one, as max word. At the end of looking through all the words, the longest one we've seen so far is the longest one in all. We print it, and we're done.